You know, we lose our minds when we're accused of racism because most of us like to believe that we're good people, kind people. Most of us like to believe that we would have been against slavery back then. And this belief makes it really, really difficult for us to see when an action that we took with good intent or with neutral intent leads to a violent outcome. And that, I think, is because there's this common belief, which is wrong, that racism is a feeling that you can have against someone from another race. And that's not what that means. Racism is always structural. That means that parts of society are set up in such a way that racist action is sometimes the easiest and the most outwardly sensible action. And that means that it's often the good, the kind-hearted people, right, who fall into this. Like, we all fall into it. I have fallen into it. All right, that said, y'all know when I do book reviews, I tend to focus on books that talk about slavery, racism, etc., because that's what I study and it helps me do my job better. And it also helps me to come to terms with what it means to be white in a country that promoted enslavement of black people for centuries, right? But sometimes I come across a book that's not explicitly about racism, but that really helps to unlock something important about it. That's this one, Ordinary Men, The Reserve Police Battalion 101 and the Final Solution in Poland, by Christopher Browning. It talks about how there are so many ways that good-hearted, kind people can become deeply complicit in very violent outcomes. So the Reserve Police Battalion 101 in Poland was formed from Polish police officers who were tasked with some of the worst atrocities in World War II in Poland. And you'd think that working in that troop would mean that you would be one of the most fanatical anti-Semitic fascists, but no. Most of them were ordinary, middle-aged working-class men who committed these atrocities because of a deference to authority and a need to conform to the rapidly shifting moral norms of fascist-occupied Poland. And as these men got used to the atrocities, they became increasingly brutal in their methods. And this book shows us how normal, everyday people can be easily coerced into tolerating brutality, if that becomes the norm. And of these 500 men, only 12 refused to participate. But those 12 didn't try to stop the others. So what this book taught me is that when it comes to structural violence, your own personal goodness is not enough to prevent that. Anybody can commit systemic violence, and most of us do, completely unwittingly or unknowingly. So if you're a good person, or working on being a good person, trying to be a good person, the next step is to educate yourself with books like this so you can learn about how to use that goodness inside of you to push systems to a place where good people can't be compelled to be complicit in violence against any one group of people, right? That's really what we're up against right now. That's what we've got to do.